Hello and welcome. My name is Trismegistus, and today we're going to be playing some more Factorio. I'm back after my little mini break, and I just realised on Twitch I've not set the holiday off, so I'm apparently still on holiday. But audio seems to be coming through okay. That's good. That's good. Is that the mic and the mic in the shot? There we go. Get me bonus in 2 weeks, so I'll probably be buying. It's unfortunately exactly the week after Prime Day, so I don't think I'll be able to take advantage of the pretend discounts that everyone does on Prime Day. Right, so I have been extremely busy in this save file. It is basically a functional 2,400 sites per minute megabase, and I want to convert all of the trains over to a generic system. Whether I'll do that today, I'm not sure, because I'm not entirely 100% sure exactly how I want to do that. We're actually at a place where I want to use to test ideas, because I was going to try starting to do that, which is what these are all about here. But so I'm not feeling, well, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. So we probably won't do that. But there's loads of, I want to make fixes to blueprints and all sorts of stuff. I have this horrible mess of blueprints. So probably not the most thrilling stream. I could just quickly go through, I say it's basically functional. The issue with it is pollution, because it is going out and affecting some of the bigger bases, basically. So, as you can see here, this is just sort of sneaking in. It's basically all in the desert area. It does get out here if it's running full chat, and down sort of there-ish. I could possibly show you the... There you go. So these are the bits where I've been actually running it and testing it, and as you can see here, it ran for 2 hours and basically ran okay. You know, there was wobbliness. In fact, I could probably do the science on its own. So you see, there was some wobbliness here, where I can't even remember what that was. But basically, what's the blue line? Blue lines. Oh, military's fine, because that's it's a occasional science that I'm doing. Was it the purple? No. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it might have been the production science. I have been having some issues with production science, as you always do, because of the ridiculous amount of steel that you need. And not so much producing it. We're okay producing it. The issue is more around actually like dropping it off and getting it into the machines. And I've done all sorts of tweaking. I sort of upgraded a load of belt, where I was obviously running them at, it's like I needed two. Well, I didn't. That was sort of the point. I needed. Are those fast? Yeah, I needed like, a red belt and a half or something for the iron plate, for example, in order to make the sticks. And I wasn't quite doing that, so I've upgraded it to, express belt, basically. It doesn't need it, but, you're getting issues where the trains aren't arriving quick enough, type of thing. And so it was sort of more prudent to sort of saturate the belts, basically, as more of a buffer. So yes, it can run, and as I say, it does run. I would need to expand. I'm probably like on the exact, I've got the exact number of outposts and stuff in order to sustain it. And that's why, it's, I would start to need adding extra outposts, because I have done a whole bunch of buffs. We're at 300% mining prod, because that's obviously the one you chug through in regular old Factorio. Let's do this tech as well. So you can see you're up to 31, and I have, as I say, been chucking the occasional military one in as well, and bot speed and that sort of thing. So yeah, it is able to basically run at that. One of the issues I found was with nuclear. I need to do a better nuclear design. What was actually happening? You see, well, for one thing, because this is 2 by 6, and now this is 2, 4, 6, 7. So I did a slightly bigger version. And in my experimentation working around this, what I kind of found is that essentially these heat pipes are too long, which is kind of what I was expecting. And if I do an improved design, one of the things I can do with that is like double up the heat pipes, because obviously these suck heat out of the system. So if the heat doesn't move down quick enough or far enough, then they stop functioning, basically, the ones on the end, which is part of why I put in these buffers, so that if there was a period where they weren't quite able to run, there would be some storage tank of heat produced. And that was kind of doubling up with, I wonder if I can show you the power. It was probably a while ago. 10 hours. So, can we see it on here? You see how the accumulators do drop to 0 in some of these bits here? And that was where I was kind of like, I was basically using up all of the stored solar, and these were not able to basically run the base. So I did this bigger design thinking that was the issue, but really investigating it, it was because these aren't really able to, basically you end up with like a third of these aren't actually running if it's a maximum demand, because the heat just doesn't get down. So increasing the number of heat pipes, in fact I think did I do it on one of them? No, that's the bigger one, isn't it? Yeah, but having more heat pipes as like a buffer. No, I just left them, did I? Yeah, because I had the bigger design. But yeah, so this would need to be more squished in, which I think I can do, because we've got a bit of extra there. So if I make a more thingy design, because one of the things with this is the changes they've made to the fluids means you don't really need to keep things this tight. We can have the heat pipes more in a kind of circle around the actual reactors, because we can just push any amount of fluid through any pipe. So I don't have to worry too much about, these turbines need to be fueled by X number of heat exchangers, because it's just, they're all just pulling out. So we can have the actual turbines like somewhere else and basically just push the fluid through. I did do another design for oil, and this is the type of thing, as I say, that I want to take blueprints of, and I have already kind of blueprinted them. But I've got a thing here, and one of the things that was interesting with this is, again, it's actually a little difficult to work for me to work with the fluids, because I'm used to doing things in certain ways, and it doesn't quite work that way. So here, for example, I'm used to putting all the water in a separate pipe because, but actually, it's this thing of like the pipes themselves are basically infinite throughput machines. It's just like push it in one end and it's instantly appearing at the other. So separate pipes isn't like necessary. You can do this where you just stick them in multiple, things. Whereas I'm used to, I think, have I still got one of the older ones? Where I was doing completely separate pipes and thinking, well, how am I I'm gonna have to feed this in halfway down and all that sort of stuff, and that's just not necessary, because it just, push it in at one end and it magically appears at the other. So the reason for building the megabase and what I want to test and have a robust thing in order, a big thing in order to robustly test, is the number of trains. So we have 421 trains. There are these two that, because I've got one for refined concrete and one for landfill that I've just not ended up sending anywhere because I haven't really built in that way. But yeah, we've got 421 trains across all of these grids, and this is what I want to fix effectively. I want a system where it's just a generic one. So a lot of these, we've got 78 drop-offs, but only 56 pick-up, because a lot of the drop-offs are slow demand. So we don't, and therefore, because of this old system way of doing it, I've got 78, I think, copper plate trains. I don't really need 78 copper plate trains. It's just that the way this type of system works, you kind of have to match your drop-offs. So yeah, I want to kind of see how, you know, I can replace it with a more sort of generic system and how it'll work essentially. But yeah, so it's a pretty big. It does, I say, it does work as a megabase. We will probably get alerts, as I say, because there's just so much pollution, and the desert is so poor at absorbing it that I'm sure some of these guys will get hit. And there are no defences anywhere. What was the other big thing I did? So I redid I did the oil thing again. Oh, I put secondary trains on for all of the science. So one of the things this does have potentially an issue with is that this doesn't have anywhere for a second one to sit. I could fix that by doing something horrible, sticking it in here, but I was like, well, it works, you know. We'll just go with it. I'm sure I did loads of other stuff, but it's mostly about grinding out outposts and stuff like that. Oh, and sticking in solar panels. There's, I don't know how many other there are now. There's not that many. Oh, that's tanked. I can't see them on that list, so if I do a special one, that's just solar panels, and we can get a bit of an idea. What we got? 87,000 panels and 73,000 accumulators, which, considering I had over a million, and it still wasn't enough in my original attempt at a megabase, is not that much at all. One of the reasons for doing this is it felt like unfinished business. I obviously did my very first series attempting a megabase, and I never really did it again, and it didn't really work. You know, it was targeted 5,000, whatever it was, 400 or something, and it couldn't sustain it, and my PC couldn't cope, and UPS etc. was horrible, and so yeah, this felt like unfinished business, which is why I wanted to do this really. But it's also why I did it mostly off stream, because just something I personally wanted to do. So yeah, I was going to use this as like the test bed basically. So my theory is that if we've got a station like on the other end, so for example, what might be a good example? We've got Red Science is demanding, you know, gear wheels. It needs gear wheels, but we're making gear wheels locally, so we need iron plate and copper plate. Well, what we can therefore do is have a station at one end that is the drop-off for iron plate. Now, I think I can give this the iron plate drop-off name, so we can have that as the parameterized thing. I don't think I need to really change how I'm doing the maths on this side of it. So this is it's a pickup, sorry. You know, the drop-off. So I think this maths is fine as it were. And, you know, the way I parameterized it should be okay. But what I want to do is essentially have this, so say if it's an iron plate drop-off, it sends a signal into a radar. Radar? You know, so it sends a signal in here. The demand signal is what I'm thinking. Do I need to radar it? See, this is what I don't know. But it puts in the signal here that says, I need iron plates. And that causes the iron plate pickup station, I've got two drop-offs, so iron plate pickup station, to turn on. And that should then trigger a train, and this is, again, I don't really know how I do this, but that should then trigger a train to say, right, because this won't be because I can't dynamically change, you know, names and stuff like that in stations. It'll just be a pickup, and the a pickup needs to work out. So it needs to know it's a iron plate station, but it just needs to turn it on, and then that'll cause any train with the generic, you know, pickup. So these are sitting here waiting. The interrupt that these need is a generic, just pickup, you know. It's just a generic pickup, and it says, what does it say? It says, Circuit condition. I guess it's doing maybe an empty cargo. Whoops. So if you've not got anything on you, then you go to a pickup. And it is literally just a generic pickup. So, so if we just call this AN pickup, so it's just called pickup like that. So then we need to edit that, don't we? I need to keep the same name, I think. Pickup. Does it interrupt into other interrupts? I don't think it does, but it's empty. And it go at target question station is just pickup. So what I need to do, you see, circuit wise, is control the pickup stations. But the pickup stations, they're turning off and on or setting amounts or what have you, needs to be based on the demand. Is that how I want to do it? Because another way of doing it. Because the tricky part is the name, basically, because we can do the generic drop off. That'll make total sense. So what would we do? We would go to target pickup, and the wait condition is being full. So if we're empty, go to any pickup that wants you to pick up. So then the drop off is totally fine as is. That was a bit weird. I was expecting it to do it, because that one just says whatever you've got, whatever you're full of, go to any drop off station. So an iron plate drop off is totally fine. The other question I've got, because I can't name, I can't give them name, I can't do dynamic naming for these, you see. I could have what I could do, you see, is just have a ginormous list of all of the things. So a single train could have every single possible thing it could pick up, but that's just going to be tedious and really annoying. Because I can't put the generic name in. This is the thing, that you can do it with circuit conditions, but I really hated the way that worked. Okay. So the idea is that if you're completely empty, you're sat there waiting for any pickup station to do. Now what we should have is then say because what's going to happen with this is that the way I'm thinking about it is the iron plate, drop off says I need iron plate, and that causes every single iron plate pickup to turn on. So all of the trains will suddenly rush to the iron plate pickup. But I don't think I can do it. But only. So they then rush to the iron pickup, they fill up with iron plate, and then, say we've got one drop off open and like 30 pickups. So 30 trains go and try and, pick up iron plate, I think. Well, I mean, what I'm wondering, I couldn't then genericize, because I need to be able to match what it's got with what it's dropping off. Because the other option, as I say, would be to match effectively so when a drop-off station becomes active, it somehow knows to go and pick up the right item, so it includes the pickup. So I don't think I can do that, because But yeah. So yeah, this is why I don't want to do this on stream, because I need to sit and think about it, and I don't think that ever makes particularly good viewing. But yeah, it needs, you know, circuit control on this basically to say, yep, we need stuff, send me stuff, and how much stuff. Okay, so what I want to do then is look at more about like redoing essentially my parameterized blueprints. Now, where are these even sat? Because one thing I can do, we did this sort of. I don't really like that stacker too. I'm not actually like a fan in the end of like using these stackers everywhere. But I don't know that I could build it into. I think if I was to redo the trains, do I want to do that as part of this series? Oh, one thing I did do, I made the tanks bigger on these, so it's got more stored and stuff, because then I can actually have 2 trains waiting and stuff like that. I'd need to completely redo these, I think, particularly the drop-off stations, because this is, you know, that putting either side of the belt thing. I just like that aesthetically. I think it looks good. It's not the best way of doing it, but it's also really like big and chunky, and I don't think we really want that. Hello, Prismontics. How you doing? I found that train limits are really important in my parameterized setup. Sometimes I would find 10 trains having picked up something, having nowhere to go, really. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm particularly, and this is one of the reasons I've done this megabase, because I have, you know, well, as I said earlier on, I've got 78 drop-offs and 56 pickups. So one of these drop-offs switches on and says, right, I want some copper. I think every single train, you know, that if it's got a generic thing, will try and pick up copper. So we'll get 56 trains full of copper, and I'm only going to drop off one. Now, because I'm talking about copper, the demand's going to be really heavy, but, you know, there's some others where I've got sort of quite a few, like plastic. There you go. Plastic's quite a good one, where it's going to be a lot more intermittent, and I don't know that I want 12 trains full of plastic if only one is asking. You know, because that's red circuits basically. But yeah, that's the sort of thing I need to play with and test, and I'd say I don't really fancy doing that on this stream. What I do want to do is think about reworking these. Now, we could mess about with a nuclear. It's a bit of a pain in the backside doing that though, because we got to get all the stuff. That was me messing about with silly designs. Yeah, so I don't know that I need to bother with any of them. And there's that blueprint. Yeah, so I think I'd need to rework the nuclear. Probably a bit messy doing that. I'd actually probably think about doing maybe a 2x8 and using that as a design, especially if I'm going to make it taller, basically. Make it more spherical, circular. Okay, so what we really need to mess about with is these guys. Now, where is this blueprint even sat? Is it in here? No. I've just ended up with a massive mess of blueprints. Why have you even got question marks? I bet that's a quality thing. I have a green Spidertron. Okay, marvellous. I bet that's for taking on worms. And a turquoise Spidertron. Lovely. Yeah, this must all be for worm stuff. How about these question marky ones? If we make a new book, it's probably not going to be the most coherent stream today, because I am quite knackered. I managed to get heat stroke on my weekend off because I did not wear my hat. What in the heck is that? That looks like a red circuit design with total madness going on. What even is that? Look at that. Question mark, question mark, question mark. This must all be space age stuff. So I guess we could put that in there. And then I remember that is space age. Let's put that in there as well then. Yeah, and I guess that was what I was doing in that playthrough. Ah, there's a generic one there. Simple rail roboports. That doesn't look like this simple rail though. Yeah, it's got diagonals in it and stuff. So that must have been what I was using. I'm just going to dump them all into a single blueprint book. I'll take that there. V2 simple rail. That looks like it's identical to the other one. Maybe I did a copy? Don't know. Who knows what madness goes on in my brain sometimes. Oh, well, that's definitely this game. That is definitely this one. Any kind of mod. Space age quality elevated rails might be it. The sun is a deadly laser. Indeed, it is. That looks like this one as well. Because it's got the stop A, stop B, stop C, stop D. So this must be my set of buildy blueprints. Okay. Yeah, these are all... Look at all those questions. It looks weird, doesn't it? Question mark. But yeah, this is all space age stuff. Whoops. Didn't even do that. So we go there. Yeah, these are all for like Fulgora. Upgrading to quality. Oh look, that's a sort of generic version of them. I guess that's what I've been doing. Oh, there's meant to be... I bet that's a biochamber. I bet that's a biochamber. In which case, let's just throw these all in here. Need to decide as well what series I'm doing next. I suspect we'll go back to Space Age. Yeah, that's more Space Agey stuff, isn't it? That's got to be as well. All of these. Oh, that looks like the Glever thing. I think that's the thing I spent ages trying to work out and then didn't actually use. And that's one I actually used. Yeah, they're all normal builds fixes. Yeah, that's my version 1 stuff. Okay. So yeah, these all need to go in here. And that's obviously biter breeding. And those have got question marks in as well, so they must be some sort of space age stuff. Now, what's that? Oops. Oh, I see it. Compressed it. Okay. What are you? I got mixed up there. That's the one I'm dumping all of this space age stuff into. So what's this? Ah, this is the original blueprint for this series. Okay. Look at that. Okay, okay. It's good to have that as an archive then. I mean, it isn't because I'll never use it. That was the original, so I can put that in there. And... oh, yeah, your space. In fact, I think actually they're not for this. Those scaling ones. What we got there? Okay, so these are getting into the territory of stuff we've used in this series. What's that one? Same again. It's these ones I want to rework, basically. Why have I got those? I wonder what the difference is with that. Is that parameterized? It is. Ah, I bet this... Yeah, it's about the fuel then, isn't it? I wonder if we can change that with an upgrade planner. Let's put those in here, though. And then put that in there. The blueprint system really has the feel of something that's been cobbled together over time, rather than anyone having ever designed it. Because it's the most clunky mess. Oh dear. This is your problem with getting developers to do software design. Would be nice if blueprints had a last modified date. Yeah, that'd be very useful. It's like, I mean, both. Well, I don't know about satisfactories. I found that a bit annoying, but the Dyson Sphere program, like blueprinting, is like, because they've obviously designed it, you know, having been inspired by what Factorio did. So it's quite nice. Okay, so we have a whole set. I think I want to redo that one. What I'm really interested in, I think, is the whole... Because I've ended up with these, like, you know... This is the oil thing. I quite like this, the way I've done this. It's like you have there's a bit on the bottom, basically. I think I need to tweak it, because I don't think it's quite right. There's like a misalignment of pipes and stuff, but... you build that on the bottom, and that's like almost the control system, or like the counter system. And then these guys are all circuit controlled based on what that bottom part is saying. So that bottom part is saying, right, you know, petrol's full, well, other way around. Petrol's empty, you know, make light, you know, convert light oil to petrol. Light oil's empty, you know, convert heavy to light, and it does it all dynamically like that. But it's extendable. So I can make it as big or as small based on the size of the patch. Okay, so I'm happy with that as my in-game oil. What I say is I really want... Well, we've got... In fact, let's put them there. Because those... I quite like them as well. So maybe we'll keep them. Don't like that at all. Okay, so these are the chemicals. So if I put them there as well, because what I want is I think I want to do a, you know, when I'm doing the snaky bus thing, I want to keep that idea, and I just want to have more versions where I don't have to do as much manual intervention, because that's the whole point of parameterizing it. Oh, I did this one as well. This one, I want to show this one. This is the steel design. Basically, it outputs 10 steel on each side. So it makes 20 steel, basically. From, it's not quite a blue belt, I think. It's like, of iron ore, that is. I think it's like 80% of a blue belt, I think. Something like that. But, yeah, so each one of these makes 20. So obviously then... 20, 40, 60. 3 of them is a red belt. No, it's 2 red belts. I think that's right. Which is what I then base the trains around. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. I like them. But we've then got like the earlier versions of them. So which is best? That is... What? If we go in here... oops. I lost track then. There we go. So that's the very first version. I could do with some regular furnace ones, couldn't I? And then steel up... Well, steel upgrade is relative. I could just have a do it via upgrade planner, but because that's got modules in it. In fact, it's got level 2 modules in it. I wonder how much that actually produces. And then that adds on bacon, so it goes a bit smaller. What's the difference between those two? I think that produces 2 blue belts, and then this one produces 1 blue belt. And because it's got the centralized modules, centralized beacons, it's more efficient. So I think probably, because they're different sizes anyway, you know, that's not the same size as that. I think actually I prefer my designs to be central beacons because it makes a lot more sense to just, you know, default to sharing basically with the huge power increase they've had. Okay. But that wasn't what I was thinking about starting with. I wanted to do this whole... Where have they gone? Here we go. So we want to redo these, basically. Or have more versions of them. No, that's train stuff. So I want to go... And what? That's with steel. Interesting. Because what I'm thinking, fundamentally, is... pulling these through. There you go, you see. It's like, why can't I insert a row? Move them all. Yeah, so these are the green ones down here. I'm basically thinking of pulling these through into a Space Age playthrough. Is what I'm thinking. So that, if you put that in the well, that's a chemically one, so try that. Right, so if that's our basic unit... Yeah, and that then is with steel. Okay, that's just an upgrade basically, isn't it? So is that not just an upgrade planner? I guess it's still green machines, isn't it? Green machines, grey machines. Oh, hello, sorry, I've been completely ignoring you. Hello, Goshen Kumar, welcome, welcome. What's my day job? My day job is... well, it has a really weird title, but basically I manage and write grant applications for a living. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Lynn-Marie, hello as well. Do a kick flip. Now do another. Okay. Strange request, but I won't be doing that. No, modified. I still need at some point to sort all of my blueprints and publish them, but it's such a mess. Yeah, I say the system is not designed, and so it's very, very clunky and inefficient. It's like if you're designing a blueprint design, you know, you're a game designer, you'd make it so you could edit blueprints properly, not just the slightly cobbled together bits of editing we can do. But yeah, so I think that is effectively an upgrade planner. And so is that, basically. I don't need a separate blueprint. I've just kept one, you know, because I wanted to have the variations. So those are just upgrades, basically. That's swapping out wooden boxes and steel power poles, and then that one swaps in blue machines and blue inserters. So I don't think we really need to keep these. What I need instead, if this is, because the idea, if this is just say two, just call them 2 items maybe? No, they call it 2 boxes or something like that. Yeah. Maybe I just call it normal. Something like that. And then the idea is I'm going to have several copies of this. Why have you not... Oh, because it's not saved the name. That's odd. Okay. It's like it lets you name things identically. You know, it's like if this isn't a normal file organization thing, because Windows would not let me name things exactly the same file name, but this does. So it's not storing them in the same sort of way. You know, it doesn't call this normal copy, normal 2, something like that. Yeah, but the idea is that this, because I want 2 variations basically, because I did that like weird one where it was like attaching it on the side basically, and what we want to do is have it pass through. So one variation is that, so I can't edit the blueprint. We'll have to put it down and then edit it. But if we go like that one, so this would be what would we call this? I guess this is pass through. Because I was kind of making notes, as it were, mental notes as to what I was doing. Oh, I don't have any poles, do I? But what you can also do on this, in order to like keep the parameterization, is just call them the parameter names. So I need to order in some wooden power bars, don't I? Otherwise these are not going to build properly. Let's just do that. Let's hope for 2.1, indeed. It's weird, some of the things they've added and haven't added. I don't know. I guess because I don't really know the code base, so there are things where it's felt like surely that must have been a really complicated thing to add in. Let's just chuck it in. And other stuff, it seems like it'd be quite simple, and then it mustn't be. You know, otherwise they'd have done it. Okay. Yeah, bring in power poles. I think I might just extend that up so I can keep working. Let's give one up those. Oops. Yeah. Those. So yeah, so the idea with this, it'll be that there and that there. Is this hard limited? Hard limited, yes. Cool. And the idea with this is that pass through is like that. It should keep, keep the parameterization, yeah. So that's, for example, where I'm making pumps and you want engines in your pumps, you get the engines passed through into your pumps, basically. So it'll fill up this with engines, and then when you need some pumps, it puts them straight in. So this is variant 1. Variant 2 is like an addition on the side, basically. And this I don't quite... because this is rotationally symmetric, is one of the things. I think. Is it rotationally symmetric? Yeah. So the 2 machines are rotationally symmetric, basically. So you can turn that one round, a couple of R's, and it's exactly the same thing. So we should be able to just sort of take one of them out. We'll leave the power poles, because it's a good guider. Like that. And then this will be... what are we going to call this? Add-in, I think. Add in. Okay. Because the one we will need, and it's that machine, basically. And that's, okay, that's that version of it, isn't it? Yeah, so it's that machine that I'm trying to effectively include into the original thing, because it was a bit of a pain using that. But do I actually want to work it like that? Hmm. Because the idea would be, this is like for like additional pipes or something, you know. But I say that the slight difficulty, I guess I could do it manually, couldn't I? Because the basic like issue is that, because I could put this down and it's got one, you know, I mean, engines are a really good example. So if we go, in fact, it's engines. Because you might, I mean, they might be on the bus, but I might also be saying, right, I want extras of both of those. And you could do one by using the pass-through version, you know, so that gives it, say, pipes or something, because you want pipes anyway. But then you also maybe want to add gears in. Is there another good example of this? And what I'd ideally like to do is do the whole, this recipe is dependent on this one. But I don't believe I can like tell it which one. I don't think. It's almost like, well, it does it in like the order of the item name, basically, because these all have secretly, behind the scenes, these have all got like an item number. And so you can work with them in sequence, basically. You know, so this is maybe number 11232, and then this is number 11233 or something. So they can obviously then be put into an order, and that's how it does the parameterized. You know, engines need gears, need steel, you know, need iron, you know, pipes. And so if you say these two need to be sub recipes of this recipe, then it'll put them through. It'll just go, you know, sequence it, you know, for loop, go through it in order, and put the first one in the list and then the second one in the list. So if I don't actually want the first one in the list, I want the second one in the list, I can't tell it that. This all makes sense to me. But what I can do is just manually set it. So if I'm going here and I want one where it's adding an extra thing on, we'd probably need a power hole there, wouldn't we? Then I say we'll use the... I think I'm going to need a second variant then, aren't I? Where it's doing the pass-through. And then this is just the one on its own. Yeah. So this then we would parameterize as, you know, whichever ingredient I want extra of. The I think boilers are a good example of this, where usually, yeah, because they need 8 gear wheels, I usually give them extra gear wheels. Whereas the pipes, it's only 5, so you could just take them from the minibus. And it'd probably take gear wheels as well, but, you know, I give them extra gear wheels. So I would want one machine giving it gear wheels, and then it's just grabbing the pipes from somewhere else. Okay, so I think that's the basic principle of how I want to do the extra insert. But say it turns out that I probably need, that's completely the wrong one, I probably need an extra one of these as well. So if we copy this up again, so this one then we have as being that, and we parameterize, and number 2 now we call extra. Extra, read all about it. This is what the you know, ingredient of 0 thing is fine, but it picks like the first one that's like in the item listing, and the item listing is almost completely random. Oh, didn't do that. Yeah, so now if I put this down as a blueprint, do I need that power pole? going to say no. So if we put, so the add-in, we pop down and we say left, as it were, is engines, and parameter 2, it's not taking the name, okay, is the extra gear wheels. Okay, so we need to edit that. One there, do that. I guess it's because I messed about with it, making it a sub thing. Cool. And then get rid of that. But we need another one that has the pass-through on it. No, that's completely wrong. Why is that not? Oh, I see. Does that. It's still not got. What have I done wrong there? What have I done wrong there? Parameter. Extra. Tick. Save. We're going to do it now. Yes, there we go. So obviously if I rotate it round, it's not really left, but I suppose it is left. Yes, so that would be the... It's reliant on me remembering how I'm using it, obviously. Yeah, so that's what I would want. Okay, but what I need as well, on top of that, also, get rid of you as well, is... So actually, I don't want a copy of that one. I don't want that one. I want to copy this one. Do I want to copy that one, or do I want to copy? I want to copy the pass-through one, don't I? So I want to copy that. So this is pass-through plus, not equals, plus, no, plus add-in. So this one then. It's the other way round because that's annoying. That's not a direct equivalent, is it? That's annoying. So this one I'm just putting it in the bottom one, and that's the final item. Whereas with the other one, I know that they're rotationally symmetric, but as I'm scrolling through it, that's going to be different, isn't it? I wonder if I can... If we put it down like that, that needs to be 0, 2. But what I actually want is like the flip of that. Not V. Or is it V? Parameter 2, parameter 0. Is it that? So that one. No, it's not flipped at all, as it's rotated. Just that one. Oh no, I've got it. Well, yeah. Oh, I'm just going to leave it. So this one needs the add-on, adding on to it, basically. And the one that needs the add-on is on that side. Okay, so pass through this add-on. So the left one would be 0 still. Right, it's 1. I then go Bosch, Bosch, 2. Add that in. Is that right? So I bet that's not... Yeah, it's on the top, isn't it? Yeah, now it's the same. Yeah, so if we take that one, redo the contents, parameterize. And number 2 then is extra. Extra, read all about it. So, what I've then got is the ability to do my normal thing where we're making, say, that would be a better example. So we're making, say, railway signals and chain signals. They then grab iron plates and circuits from the minibus. Cool. What we've also got the ability to do is this one, where we want to make, say, pumps. And I'm going to have to get the right ones, so this is where it gets confusing. But the left one, I think I've turned that round, haven't I? Maybe I shouldn't use left and right. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe I should rename these as 0 and 1, because I can see those irrespective of how I've rotated it. Yeah, I like it. So this then is 0 and this then is 1, and then this one then, that's, if we just call that 0 and 2. I've used the 2 because obviously I'm going to have 1 in the other one. So you see it's not left really, it's like middle, but call it 0 and 2, and it doesn't matter which way around I've rotated it. I keep doing that. I don't think it doesn't save them unless I hit the tick. It's dumb of me, is it not? Tick. Save. Yeah, so that needs to be 0 and 1. Tick. Save. Yeah, 0 and 1. That's cool. And that one is 0 and 2. And that one there is, so it's not left, it's 0. Oh, is it put them? No, it's not put them in order. 0, 1, and 2. Cool. I didn't hit the tick. That's annoying. 0, 1, 2. Tick. Save. Cool. So, yes, so we've got, I can make railway signals, chain signals, boxes, etc. I can then make, so, oh, it's got the left and the right on it still. Why have you still got the left and the right? 0, 1, tick, save. 0, yeah. So 0 is the, like, you know, component part, as it were. So that would be engines. And then 1 is the pumps. Cool. The next one then is like the pass-through version. So this might be boilers. So we might be saying boilers and extra gear wheels because it needs quite a lot of those. Cool. Then we've got like the super version where I'm maybe making what? Because that's both pass-through. So 1 is the thing we're trying to make. And say that is engines. So it requires a little bit of thinking. It's not, you know, just a slap it down thing. But the way I make them in the minibus, it's very much piecemeal, add a few on, you know, so it is thoughtful. I mean, like I adjust the boxes and stuff anyway, so. And so, for example, we just want extra gears. But we want pipes, and we want them in a box as well. We want to store up some pipes. So we do that. Cool. I like it. I like it. Now, the next step up then. So I then need an upgrade planner. Or well, do I need a couple of upgrade planners, I guess? Do I want them in the blueprint thing? Because we would be going from wood. Oops. Yeah, I've selected wooden to mediums or small to mediums, and wooden chests to steel chests will be a typical step I do. But the next one then would be just like a boring old upgrade of this one. I don't think I need to. No, I don't need a separate one for this. Because that's like an intermediate one. I don't want to just run a blue... if I've built... that with your rail signals in, I don't want to probably just upgrade everything all at once. Because, what I really want to do is upgrade them too, and then not in the generic planner. I never got that, why they were not in there. I suppose is it in a sense it's not really an upgrade with the chest, but that going to medium is an upgrade. But yeah, so the step going from power poles and wooden chests to steel chests is one I would want to do. If I've already done that, or I've not entirely done that, then I can use a regular old planner to upgrade everything to blue machines and blue inserters. Okay, cool. Next step then would be to go storage chesty, which is into separate things, and the reason for having blueprints is because really I need to stamp them down on top, because I can't simply, if I had an upgrade planner and I was going from steel, well, I guess there might be some wooden ones as well, to storage chests, if I do that, great, but I need the filter to be set, this to be removed, I need a circuit condition on somewhere, so it's a separate blueprint. So they're like a replaceable one. Hello, Night Raven, how you doing? Sorry, I'm getting very carried away, so I'm not really reading the comments properly, which is very bad of me as streaming. So apologies, please, Pomtex. I've not read your comments. I wonder what their time horizon is and when their next game might start to be developed. So I've a suspicion they've not even started work on 2.1. There was some comment made, I think it might have been on Discord, that they hadn't actually even really started on 2.1. My kind of suspicion is that, oh, there we go. I knew the lads would turn up eventually. Where have you come from? In fact, we can get through that gap cut. It's because, I say, pollution is just nibbling at the edge of these, and getting rid of the nests was getting a bit tedious. Oh, look, it's receded a bit there. I think we're right on that one. Yeah, it's clearly impacting them, and it's come in for a wandered round, decided it wants to chew on this particular bit of the factory. It's a bit weird now what they go for, because they don't regard radars as military targets. I wonder if I should maybe try and clear them back a bit. It got really why I'm not using it as a megabase is it got really tedious killing off all the biter nests. It's just quite slow and annoying, really. Because artillery is great, but I find artillery works best when you actually got like a wall and stuff to just absorb the response attacks. I wonder if, in fact, maybe if I just do that bit. Because that's not really getting so much of a problem, is it? Let's do that. Can I use selector combinators or something? Quite probably. I wouldn't really know how. There is this blueprint stuff with parameters. It can be ingredients, but I have no idea if that can be used for what you want. Yeah, so that is what it is, but you can't, like, select what you want it to use as, like, the sub-ingredient. So you can tell it, you know, this machine is a sub-ingredient to this one, without actually telling it what that is. So it just knows, right, well, you're making red circuits, so the sub-ingredients are plastic, you know, copper wire, and green circuits. But you are probably making the green circuits somewhere else. Now, I mean, the plastic's not a problem with that when you do that, because that's obviously coming from a chemical plant. So if you've not got a chemical plant in the recipe, or even if you have, you know, it knows what to put in. You've got one option. Your problem is that the red wires and the green circuits, because depending on what order they're in the naming system, is what it'll pick basically. So if green circuits are like listed, have a lower item number basically than the cables, the copper cables. You're getting pollution, aren't you? That's annoying. The difficulty with these is once you start killing them, they start doing response groups. And I say I don't really have the... Because like a lot of these biters, like there you go, they are probably going to form a response group. And they definitely will. And if they pick some random direction, if I go in and kill them, they'll do another response group. And I say this is why it gets tedious, because you've got to sort of wait, see what they're going to do. Like he's peeled off. Why have you peeled off? Otherwise you end up with them chewing on some random bit of the base up here. And so what I should really do is you know, just get rid of them all, but after 3 hours of doing that, I just got a bit bored. This is part of the reason why I let other people do this sort of stuff. My train of thought doesn't always follow the person who set it up. Yeah. There's I have a like an expression I use that's quite similar, which is basically that, and it applies more when I was an analyst, and I'm sure it sort of worked with programming as well, which is why comments in programming, if you've done programming, comments are like more important than the actual code itself, because you can, the whole point of those is for the other programmer to explain their train of thought of why they've done that, why they've used that class, why they've done that approach sort of thing. And it's basically that reading someone else's spreadsheet is like reading someone else's mind, because it will have had their thought process baked into the the equations they've used, the maths they've done, whether they've decided to do individual like rows or something, or columns rather, for each step, and done it through that way, or they've just done one massive formula that has everything in it. And so unpicking it is just like seeing inside someone's brain, basically, because that's how they think. And you don't tend to put comments usually a lot of the time on spreadsheets. So interpreting them can be problematic. Okay, so we'll assume... Oh, it's interesting, we now got lots of the alerts. We'll assume that we would be going to blue machines, and we basically need exactly the same set of things. Okay, so if we get rid of you, because we know that's different. And we basically need the copies, because what I would need to do is, even if it's built, so say we've built, you know, a whole bunch of them, boop. Again, let's use these two. A whole load of them. When we come round to wanting to put some sort of circuit condition on, we would need to basically replace the whole thing. So we would need to do that again, and that again. I wonder, if I didn't put the actual recipe, I need to do, sorry, I do, oops, no, missed. I do that. I don't put the recipe. No, it changes them to the generic parameters, doesn't it? Yeah. So, the question here then, because this is also why I need multiple versions, because when you're doing the pass-through thing, you don't want the machine that you're passing through to be using the logistics count for what it's making, because otherwise you'll end up with empty chests that it's not passing anything through. We could use buffer chesting, but of course the point where I'm building this, I almost certainly don't have buffer chests, so they've got to be storage chests or requesters, I think. And we don't want to use requesters. That gets... No, in fact, I don't think it can use requesters, can we? Anyway. Basically, yeah, I need versions of each of these that are the blue equivalent, and that I can just stamp down over the top, which gets a bit tedious. It's nicer to upgrade it. I wonder, actually, so thinking about that again, if I'd upgraded, say... No, it's just going to give them the 0 name, isn't it? And if this was... Well, in fact, let's use the... No, where are you? Where are you, Mr. Upgrader? There you go. Yeah, so I've upgraded, say, those bits. It doesn't make any difference. So if I just put like that, say, yeah, it's going to ask them for them again. If I put nothing, changes into parameters. Yeah, so it doesn't really help. Okay. Okay. So we basically need the equivalent of each of those. So if we go 2, so we need that one. So I'll make a little gap so I know that they're separate things. We'll go like that. And then I didn't put the parameter versions on, did I? If we go... no. It needs to be that. 0, 1. That one go over here. This is like the add-in one. 0, 1. 0, 2 rather. And that's that one there. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we need the blue version of them. So this then becomes normal B. Cool. Now, what does normal B look like? Normal B. Because does it have... It does have the 0 filter on there. Cool. And it has a limit. It's interesting that has... Huh, interesting. Yeah, that's all fine then. Because if we did that as a proper thing, if we did say, excuse me, those guys, then these should be set to the proper recipes, and you're set to 100, and you're set to 100, because it's based on the stack size. So that's all good. That one is exactly what we want. What we do want, though, is to make a copy of that and do the pass-through equivalent. So this would be pass-through B. Pass through the B. Honey to the B. Okay, so this would be here. We'll just leave it as the... Oh, it's got left and right on it, hasn't it? I need to change that. So this needs to be zeroth. And this needs to be 1th. Okay. And this redness is just because of a bug that I guess must be really difficult to fix because they've known about it for ages. do. So that's all fine. Yes. Save. Cool. So, did I put it down? I did not put it down. Did I put? No, I didn't put it down. So we go to there. This is the pass-through one. So we need to mimic what's above it. We would just put 0 and 1 so that it retains the, the thing. It has 0, yes. 0 less than 2. 0, we probably should change that so that I can redo it. 4, cool. And I'm actually passing through the top one, so I'll obviously turn that round. But what we're going to do, you see, we don't want this to be based on that connection. We want it to use the circuit network. And we want to say to this inserter, I could do the machine as well. Say to that inserter, only work, no, not just 6, enable disable. If 1, we'll put in the number 3 so that we can identify it when we do the thing. If that's less than 3, then you're enabled. Cool. So this one is based on what's in the logistics network. It's saying if there's less than 2, which we'll change to stack size. Did I set this as 2? Yeah, because they stack to 50, don't they? So we need to do 2 stack size. But yeah, this inserter works if there is nothing in this box. And that box is both taking it out of there and making available to the logistics network. Cool. So we need to redo this blueprint. Pass through B. And we want to parameterize. Now we don't want left and right, do we? We want 0 and 1. We want to change the order of these to match. Now, actually, I think it's the other way around, isn't it? That one was the 2, but that one becomes a parameter with a formula that is 2 times I could get very, very fancy and dynamically set the number of stacks, but I'd need to be inputting an extra. We'd need a combinator in there somewhere, but I don't want that for this version. Not least of all because I probably wouldn't have them. Okay, so 2 times P1. What is it? P1? What is it? PN. So P1 underscore S, stack size. Cool. Underscore S. And then for this one, P0. Because programmers, so we have a 0th counting system. P1, underscore stack. No. So for the item we want, it'll make 2 stacks. For the item we want to pass through to it, it will attempt to fill the box with 2 stacks. Or rather, it will make 2 for that one, so that there are 2 stacks worth in the logistics network, and that one will just make 2 in the box. 2 in the box is worth 2 in the box. So that's 1 and that's 0. I think we're okay with that. So let's test it. let's just take a leaf out of the Factorio Dev's book and test as build. Pass through. So we do that, and we say 0, which is the one we're passing through. So, well, let's do it properly. Let's do one of them, and then this would be engine, which are of course are intermediate. There we go. So we're then making. You're trying to fill the box with 100. Cool. You're trying to fill the logistics network with 100. Excellent. So, add in then can be based on what? Yeah, add in should be based on normal. Copy of that. Rename that. The idea with this, obviously, I'm way over, explaining and all that sort of stuff because I'm streaming, but the idea is to build these once and then I can just use them in every game ever. By parameterizing it, I don't need like a million separate blueprints. I could just go, right, I want pumps, so that means engines, so pass through engines. Done. Cool, so add in B. We would take out. We've done it based on the 0th on the other ones, haven't I? And I took that out, I think. Yes. It's the 0th. Yes. Okay, so we build this here. And that is the equivalent one there. And that is doing logistics space stack up building, which is what we want. We just put that in there, that in there. We call this number 2. And we go bosh, bosh, bosh. Parameterize. Now, I'm going to move that down. I don't really need to. But that one, why has it not? I guess because I redid the thing, didn't I? So it's a formula again. So parameter 0 stack size. And we want 2 lots of that. Cool. And we don't need to limit that at all. Excellent. So let us test again. Test, test, and test again. No. So we go boop. And we go. Ah, I didn't name it, did I? That needs to be 2. No, I didn't click the thing again. If I hit return, does it save it if I hit return? Should do. Yes. So 0 would be, for example, boilers again, steam engines rather, and then extra gears. Gears for everyone. And has this been set as? Yeah. And this is set as 2. Yeah. Excellent. Next one then is the pass-through with add-in. So if we take a copy of that one, boop, and do that, and then we'll pop this down. So that would be. Oh, I've got different numbers on that. That's interesting. The one that's being added in. So we call that 0 to retain the parameter. Call that 1 to retain the parameter. And we'll just come over here. We'll just copy paste that. Boop. And then we call this 2. Cool. And then I suppose technically I've not put the light on that one, have I? That's a little bit annoying. Am I going to redo it? Of course I am. So I'm going to go like that. Parameter. Oops. So I didn't put the things in today. So if I go, and they have the same number. Okay. Let's rethink that then. So I want to go there. Put that as 2, so that I can edit it. Put that one as 3, so that I can edit it. To which is the pass-through? The pass-through one is 0, so that needs to be 0 as well. And that one should be 1. That should be 1. Cool. So do that. Parameterize. Now. Oh, where's that 0 come from? Circuit condition 0 is less than 3. Oh, okay. Oh, I picked the wrong 0. That's what's the problem. Huh. That's your problem. Hello, hello. Factorio, welcome, welcome. What's the goal here? Just me messing about with blueprints, basically. The goal is to come up with something that I can use for my way of building in the early game, basically. I use a snaky bus, basically. I've actually got a couple of videos coming out about it at the end of this month, 25th of July, I think, something like that, where I kind of doing them. I'm trying a whole new video format where I just do a very, very quick and dirty thing, just sort of talk them through. But that explains like the minibus and that sort of a way approach of doing it. But yeah, basically, I build these sequential inline machines with just belts of basic materials, basic intermediates, and then pull from them. And this just allows me to slap down everything that I want very easily, because at the moment I have to manually set everything, and this just makes it a lot simpler. Now, why do we have an engine in that? What have I done wrong there? That should be a 0? Yeah. 0, 0, 1. That should be a 1, shouldn't it? And that should be a 1. That should have a 2 on it. Yeah, cool. But I mean, the goal of the series, well, it wasn't really the goal of it was sneakily the goal that I didn't tell anybody about, was to make a megabase, so I kind of did that bit. So, which was 2 and which was 3? Wasn't the pump 2? Yeah, so the pass-through one is the 2. Okay. All this to add a light in. Right, so the one that's getting it is the 2. The one that's passing it through is the 3. So that then is a parameter where it is 2 times P0, P1 rather, underscore S for stack. And then we've got the formula there. It's 2 lots of dp2 times P0 underscore S. That's the one that's being passed through. Cool. I didn't hit the tick again. So it is 2 lots of P1 underscore S And then that one is 2 lots of P0. Let's call this. And this time we hit return. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Put in our test case. So we want 0 here would be the pump. 1 would be the engine. Cool. Now what's it done? It's got pump filter there, that's good. Yep, that's right. Got 2 stacks there, that's all good. Excellent. So, if I added the light in, didn't I? I think we're okay. I'm sometimes trying to go for a circular bus. Interesting, especially with some mods. So this is to improve efficiency in your factory, or is this for like requesting items? Well, all sorts really. The term parameterization implies that you'll be adding parameters for the factory to work off of, right? No, parameterization is a function they added in version 2. So parameterization is these purple icons basically. So that allows you to set things as parameters at build time, basically. That's what it's parameterizing. And I say it's a function in the game rather than anything I'm specifically doing. But it's one that I'm trying to take over. So understand basically. So when they did version 2, at the same time Space Age, they added a whole load of extra functionality and tweaks and changes and stuff like that, that I wanted to do a series that was me kind of learning them, because they added so much in Space Age that I felt I didn't really even touch on. It's like I don't think I used interrupts in my Space Age playthrough that I did on stream. So yeah, it was really just around that for this series. But I've also been experimenting with other things that I've not really done before that I've turned out to quite like fixed train blueprints where it's all on a grid-based system. I've never really done that before. I always thought it'd be too restricting, but actually it turned out to be really helpful. And for example, I did this super optimized T-junction that massively improved the throughput compared to how I normally do trains. So I've been doing lots of stuff, messing about with things like that. It's an odds and sods series. Cool. So we need to, because it should pick up. So that's got a 2 in it. Oh, that's got 2 as well. So what we do actually need to do is pop that back on. Leave it without the things. This should have 3. Yeah, and 2. Excellent. Cool. An odds and sods series. Maybe that's what I should call it. Pass through. It's not pass through. It's plus add in. Plus add in. Cool. And I want to take that and that. And then parameterize, and it should all basically work because we're not really changing anything. But it's 2 lots of that stack, and that's just whatever it is. And 2 lots of that stack. Cool. So that should be okay. Oh, I didn't need to change. Let's just take it anyway. Cool. So let's delete that, stick it back on, do a test. So we would want, so 0 is the thing we're making, so I guess just use engines or something. 1 is the extra, gear wheels. I didn't call that a name, so that needs to be pipe say that we want a box of. Cool. Have you got the right things? You have 2 of them. Cool. Well, I did that the wrong way around, didn't I? But that was me getting it wrong. That needs a name. That one there. But 2. Awesome. Now, the next step up from that would be the whole green machine thing. But I don't think I need a planner for that. No. I got that there because of when you're putting fluids into assemblers. What's the difference between these two? Because what would I be doing? I mean, I guess I would be upgrading some green ones. Hello, Nico. Welcome back. I'm playing Space Exploration on 1.1, and parameters are the #1 thing I'm missing right now. Setting up train stations is so annoying. Are you making a bot more or just learning parameterization? Bit of both, really. So I've been learning parameterization. I think I've got my head around that as a concept. What I'm doing now, so we have a base. Basically, I've essentially finished this playthrough to the degree that I'm happy. I'm glad that's receded. I could be running it. We could be doing mining prods and all that sort of stuff. But as you can see, pollution is reaching out to the bigger biter nests, and it was getting very tedious clearing them out, basically. So I've just left it. So it's essentially sat here doing nothing. What I do want to eventually be testing it with is some train stuff. I want to do more like a dynamic train system, because the train system I worked out, which is perfectly functional, perfectly fine, but it utilised parameters. So we have a drop off, you see, where I tell it what is dropping off. So steel plate, for example, and how many. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And then the trains, we actually tell them what they are, basically. So this train here, for example, we would tell it it's a steel train. I don't really want a steel train. And so I have to build as many of these as I've got those, and whereas I want to do the more generic thing that they showed in the Friday Facts, but that's going to require a lot of thinking. I don't want to do that on stream because I don't know how I actually want to do it, if you see what I mean. Because I want to control it using some kind of radar-based circuit network magic, but I don't know what that is yet. So I need to think about that. And I'm going to use this iron plate one as a template, or a practice run, or something like that. And then if it works, I'm going to convert all of the trains to doing that. And then we've got a megabase with 422 trains in it in order to test it, basically. So I will probably be doing that off stream because it's too much thinking for me on stream. So what I'm doing at the moment is looking at the blueprints I want. So I did what I call my snaky bus, which I basically, it isn't like an original concept to me, but essentially I build these machines around. So let's put a very original one, that one there. So say for example I want to build those two. Oops, missed. There you go. And then somewhere along these belts would be iron plate, which might be there or something. Well, I suppose early game it wouldn't be that far away, but like that. Say that's got iron plate and that's got green circuits, and then away you go. But I build these randomly. Basically, I don't really have a template. I just stick them wherever I fancy putting them. So I'm not parameterizing any of that. But having the machines where I can just come along and go, right, we've researched trains. Let's build a one of these. So it'd be a pass through. Say for example, we want to build the actual locomotives. They would go on the one, and then we might build engines there, because they need engines. And I wouldn't want to put those on the minibus. So we build engines there, like that. So then it's doing that. And I would grab the steel and green circuits from wherever they've ended up. And same here, this would likely have the pipes. But if I didn't have enough pipes or what have you, I could use the... oops. Pass through and add in. So I would be swapping in this one. Which way around is that? Other way around. So that's interesting. So I would need to flip it, but I'm not going to do that because I'll get a bit confused. But yeah, so this might have another machine on here that's feeding in things. So the idea of it really is just to have a nice... It's not as like fixed and regimented as a lot of systems that some people use, you know, that it's exactly the same build you build every single time. But it shortcuts and simplifies a lot of the stuff that I find repetitive. So that's what I'm really going for. Okay, so the next step up, say we'd done all of them. We've got these guys with... No, those are grey. You know, whatever these are. Signals again, it's just a very easy one to do. Like that. And we would upgrading then, we'd be using green machines. Fine. I wouldn't want to change any of this, I don't think. That would be fine. So it would just be a regular upgrade. I could upgrade the inserters if I really wanted to, but that's okay. The next step then would be as if I wanted to go optimal or something equivalent to that, then the blueprints I had in when we were playing through, excuse me. So I had a blue version, didn't I? So we had this one. Choose one of them. I bet they'll come and fill that up, won't they? Because we're in the logistics network. Let's get out of the network. Let's build it there then. So if we were wanting to build something there, obviously it'd probably be something more complex that needed blue circuits or something. But I'm literally doing this based on... I guess I'm doing double stack sizes. Let's have a look at how I parameterized it. Ooh, oh, that's cool. I never considered parameterizing for early game models. Yeah, so it was just because I usually build in the same basic idea, but I like to keep things, you know, per game. I don't... There's like a balance for me of, right, well, I've got my blueprint, I'll use my blueprint, versus just, you know, how I built it that time. So some things, like the machines, it's tedious setting all the recipes all the time. Especially when I'm doing pass-throughs and requests and all that sort of stuff. But I like building the actual, you know, slapping down the belts, and I can get bots to do it and all that sort of stuff anyway. So it's nice to have a balance for me of this is how we're doing it this time versus reusing the exact same thing. So we have complicated things happening. So 0 is the machine, so that's what it's requesting. I've given these numbers just so that, because if you give it the same number when you're parameterizing, it thinks it's the same thing. So if all of these were set to 100, I would just have one variable, and I don't want one variable, I want to set various things. So this is me just having enough. Yeah, that's right, I remember, because if I was to set this for a rocket silo, we would need like 6 ingredients. And it's smart enough to know that if I set this to, you know, rail signals, it only needs to do 2 of them. You know, it doesn't need to do ingredient 3, 4, 5 and 6 because they don't exist. Okay, but this is me accounting for needing, you know, 6 ingredients. So that's just why there's loads of them. The formula I'm using... Oh, someone told me about this. You can use the min. Huh. Use min and max. Maybe I should put that into my other ones. How would I use that though? Because what is I1? So that's 60p0 times I1. Item count of ingredient 1, parameter n. Okay. So for whatever we're asking for, because 60 turns it into a per second thing, doesn't it? Is that crafting time of parameter n? Huh. What's that on? So that one's just the stack size. So this is saying whichever's the least of 60 of these items, which is effect. I mean, it isn't, is it? It would need to be crafting time of parameter n. N is the thing you're making. Stack size of parameter n. So if we wanted to have why would I want to use that? Given this is my simple thing. I guess it's the ingredient thing, isn't it? Crafting time of parameter n. So if it had a half-second crafting time, because we would need to do the inverse basically. So if it had a 2-second crafting time, it would need to be half of it. So it's the amount, say we wanted to deliver, we'll have in the box enough for 1 second's worth of crafting. If it's got a half-second crafting time, it needs 2 of them. You know, if it had, I don't think there is anything in this, but if it had a quarter of a second crafting time, I guess if it had loads of speed modules on it or something, then it would, although that would be the actual recipe, not the actual machine. Unless it does account for that. Maybe it does. Maybe it bases the actual crafting time on whether it's got modules in it and stuff like that. That would be at build time, wouldn't it? Rather than, yeah, it must just be the recipe. So if we were to tweak that rather than 60, where I've just gone, I guess it's crafting time in seconds. So if we were to do 1, do I want to fiddle? I don't really want to fiddle with this as is. I've completely forgot about the min-maxing. If I was to min-max these, would I want to? What would that achieve? Because this is just having a 2 stacks worth. Because the problem in a sense is more to do with what you use in volume rather than, so, you know, rail you're going to use a hell of a lot of. Centrifuges not so much. So having it based on crafting time isn't really going to benefit us for that one there. But in terms of requesting things, I think that is useful. But what would I actually want it to do? Because we could, we could do 1 over. To do 1 over, maybe we do, because 60 sec. That's a. Or is that? Yeah, that would be seconds, I guess. The crafting time. And we want, say, a minute's worth of stuff to be in there. Let's just have a look, see what it. Well, I say it. We'll make a copy of this. So. Oh no. Yeah, the numbers being grouped together is really annoying. I wanted to leave default for some numeric parameters. That isn't possible if you want 2 parameters with the same default value. It'd be nice if there was a way to break up different instances of the same number into separate parameters. Ingredients are far away. You might need to request more than 1 second of an agreement. Yeah, that's sort of the real issue, but I don't know how I would kind of account for that really. That's up, that's up to me where I'm building them, sort of thing. And you also get into very, very complex, what's the bot travel time and, that sort of stuff. So I think I'm happy basing it on like a minute's worth of stuff. Hello, Baker Magician. How you doing? Hello to you too. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's have a fiddle with. Let's see what it actually does. So, if I wanted to do, say, maybe if I take the min bit off, because otherwise it will just end up doing whatever the stack size is. So if we did say, I'll bracket it so I know what I'm doing with the maths. The inverse of P0's n, was it? No, R. R for rate, I guess, is what they're going for there. Crafting time. Because T would make more sense, wouldn't it? Crafting time. I guess it is a rate. Stack size is fine. Cool. So, if we did that, and then, which one did I edit? That one, wasn't it? Yes. So it's the second one. So that, and that. So if I do that one, what numbers has it got here? So it's put 0. Huh. Is that because it's not powered? Or just maybe because it's integer maths? 1 over 0? Because I'd expect that to be... Because they do have half a second crafting, don't they? Yeah. So I'd expect 1 over 0.5 to give me a 2. But it's clearly giving me a 0. Then maybe it's just a lack of power thing? Some of the ones they've done, it's a little weird that they've got to be powered. In other words, when you put it down, it has to, have juice. I don't think it'll be this, but... So if we go with that again... No. So it's come up with 0. So if it had a half second craft time, 5 iron plate, we would expect it to put 30 in there, I think. Now, is that me being hyper dumb in how I've done this maths? P0 R crafting time of parameter n. I guess if I do a recipe that's got like a 1 second crafting time, what do you do? What's a 1 second? Well, let's do the loco. So that's a 4 second crafting time. What have you put in there? 6. 30 steel plate. I mean, it's 4 second in the sense that that's the recipe. Is it factoring in the machine speed? Because 3/4 of that would be 3. 3 seconds, that is. So if it's then... No. What am I doing now? So if that's saying... Because it's got a 4 second craft time. So 1 over that would be 1/4. So 1/4 of the item 1, which I'm guessing is just whatever's listed first. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. So that's the steel. So it should be... 50. So it should be 7.5, which I would guess it would round up to 8. Instead, it's put 6. If it was factoring machine speed in, then that runs at 3/4, doesn't it? So the crafting time would actually be, divide that by 3/4. Maths. Oh no, maths. 4 divided by 0.79. Okay. 4.75 is 5.3 recurring. So if it's using 5.3 recurring in the maths, what would that do? So it would be 1 over that. Calculate again. So that would be the inverse of that. Which I can't remember how to do on that calculator. So 1 divided by 5.333. It's 0.1875. Multiply that by 30. Would give us 5.6, which rounds to 6. So it looks like it does factor in machine speed. Interesting. Why wasn't it giving us the 2 for the other one then? Why did it not give 2 on that one? Let's do something else in case it's... No, see, it's coming up with 0. Oh, I did it again. 6. So if it was doing 2 times... What am I doing in the thing? I don't know why it's not coming out with 12. I guess with machine speed it might make 15 or something. You might not need to solve that within the parameter. Just multiply the logistic group within the request by some value, right? Potentially. Parameterized blueprints was the golden feature I didn't know I needed. I use it all the time now. I could just divide the thing by that, and that would in theory achieve the same result, wouldn't it? I'm just doing that so that I mentally can understand it. So if we do that, what happens then? Oh, pushing the wrong buttons entirely. What happened there? So if we do that, say, put that there. What have we come up with now? You still come up with 0. Okay. It's got to be a thing to do with rounding, basically. Because I bet it's not taking that to be 0.5. I bet it's taking that to be 0 or something like that. It's like rounding it, basically. If we do a multiply, what do we get? Because I can always multiply it by 60 as well, so it's just a minute's worth. That's probably a sensible thing to do anyway. What have you come up with now? 250? What? 250? Stack size is 50. How in the heckins did you get 250? What? Crafting time of parameter n. We're doing P0, which is what we're putting in. Crafting time of parameter n. What? Because the crafting time of that is 0.65 seconds. So how does 5 times 0.5, twiddled about a bit for machine speed, come up with 250? Let's try another recipe. See if that gives us more data points. So we go with, say, the trains again. 150. That would be 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. 5. Which would make sense because, as I say, I worked out, you know, if it's it appears to be accounting for machine speed. So that would be 5. Wait, no. What? 150. It needs 30 of those. That is 5 lots of them. It seems to go wonky when it's slow. Oh, cargo wagons have a 1 second craft time. Perfect. 100 iron plate. So, what? Is it bit shifting it? What the hell's going on there? That was 20. Multiply by a 1 second craft time. What? Let's do it as a. So if I just change this to literally be the craft time. That's not right, is it? R's not. Yes, rate. Sorry. B0R. So this should be the rate of whatever we've got. So it should be 1. We, you know, might round it up because of blue machine and what have you. So we do that. 5. So it's a 1 second craft time. And it's coming up with 5. It's got stack size of 5. I might just be... Oh, crack, I did it again. I'm just being super dumb and putting the wrong parameter in or something. P0R. Crafting time of parameter in. Because S is the stack size, so that should give me 5. If I do that... 11. What? 11. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, because is it doubling that? If I take that down to 1. No, that can't be it. I think I might have to leave this because I don't understand what it's doing. 11. How is it coming up with 11? Because the stack size is 5. What? Instead of doing it over the top, let's do a completely new one. So like that. So we go there, and we say one of them, and you come up with 11 iron plate. Because I'm going to get rid of all of this as well, I think. Oh, no, let's just leave it. Ingredient of 0. Run to 1. Is it taking that there? If I make that 5, maybe it's the capital S. Why have we even got a capital S? Because I've got caps lock on. How do you do that? What do you do? Oops. 5. So it's ignoring what I'm asking it to do. Parameter, formula, P0. Because what I had it before, this min one, is this only working because I've basically said the stack size of the item itself? And that it's basically always ignoring this? Oh, P2S. P2S. That could well be it, couldn't it? So it's effectively ignoring all of that rubbish. So if I put like something silly, so I don't think it's actually using that. Let's put a pipe. 100. And that is not the stack size. Oh, it is the stack size, of course. So now it's using it. Because that's the stack size. B0S. And it's asking for iron plate. But if I do a train, 5. Because stack size is 20. What? P0S. I'm wondering if, because I was using the 15, wasn't I? There was a bit of confusion there. But I don't get why that would be P0S, stack size of parameter n. So parameter 0, stack size. Oh no, stack size is 5. Isn't it? Let's use, say, asset providers. 50, because the stack size is 50. Okay, so it is using it. So that at least isn't like, broken. It must have been just that I put the 15 and it's 15. So we'll call it 11 again. So that must have been causing some confusion. Do then 50. Yeah, okay. So if I want to then multiply that. So if it develop, so stack size of. Do I want it based on the stack size? I want it based on the craft time, don't I? So which is the rate? But I want to divide it by the craft time so that it increases it. I do also want to double it because this recipe should be double. Let's see what it does now. Divided by P0. Where are you? Underscore R. Crafting time. And I want to multiply that by the stack size of the actual item itself. Maybe that was the problem. I wasn't multiply it by the thing. I don't know why not. Just stack size of P1. Right, what are you going to do now? Mad little game. Okay, let's use the trains again. What have you put in here? You put 200. Stack size is 100, so that's got the 2 times. We know that the wagon has a craft time of 1, but a stack size of 5. Is that getting even vaguely close to what I'm thinking about? So let's do, say, storage chest. What have you put it as now? 400. So if that has a... So it only needs 3, you see. So divided by the 2. I think that's what I want. But I also need to be a bit careful for that, because if we put something like a rocket, so this is where the min thing comes in. All I was trying to do was the min. If we put, where the flip is the rocket silo now? Oh, I can't build them in the blue machines, can I? What's got a lot of ingredients and is like super slow? Oh no, there we go. What have you put in now? 2.1 G, you see. That's the basic problem, because I'm dividing it by 0 of, so it's like 1,000 million, 2.1 billion, which I think is actually the parameter limit, isn't it? So that's the issue, basically. That's why the min becomes important, because if I divide the rate of the thing, yeah, because that's giving me a factor. P1S. What is the... See, it feels like it's doing it backwards. Because that has a 30-second craft time. Maybe it doesn't work in seconds. 30-second craft time. So if it was doing... The stack size is 1. So it should be 1/30th, 2/60th of 1,000. But it's not doing that. Because the R is the rate. P0 of S. So a rocket silo has a stack size of 1. So it's 1/30 multiplied by 2. So 2/30, 1/15 multiplied by the stack size of whatever that is. And I think the first one is steel, isn't it? P1S is the stack size itself. So it shouldn't come out with some gigantically bonkers number. Unless it is a rate. The only way it would get that is if it is a rate number. It's not a... So it's the amount that it makes per second. So it's not the time, it's the rate. In other words, the rate of it making rocket silos... Actually, never blooming finding the thing. Not there, are they? Oh, there you go. The rate of making rocket silos is tiny. It only makes 1/30th per second. So if we flip it right, so if it's not a divide, so if this isn't a time as it's claiming, it's a crafting rate, then if we multiply rather than divide, what does it come out with? Could this be terrible explanation of what it's doing? So if we do it now, What number? You've come up with 0. Okay. How would you come up with 0? Because 1/30th is going to be a very small number. If I multiply it by 60, so it's a minute's worth of stuff, what happens then? So if I want to multiply it by 60, it would be better to do it 120, wouldn't it? What number do you come out with now? 0 still. I don't understand what that's doing. Remember I had an error. Let's see what you get. That was the default value if I had an error. Upcast S. 5 was also the stack size. Stack size and default, yeah. Yeah. So why is that not producing... I've gotten obsessed with this. I wouldn't normally, because it's difficult doing these on stream, because it's not the... It's a type of thinking I need to just sit there and think. That's why I wasn't doing the train ones. But this seems just so obvious, and yet it's not doing it. So what if we put this as you say, just the stack size of that? Not stack size. We want end R, don't we? E0 R. Right. What are you going to do? Oops. What are you going to do now? Rocket science. 0. Okay. If we put it as the inverse of that, what are you going to do? (2.1G). So in other words, you know, stack overflow type number. What? Am I effective? Because that feels like an effective, you know, code trying to cope with a divide by 0 error. What about if we take this number and so we take that, it's 0. If we multiply it by, say, 1,000, what do we get then? What are we getting now? Silo. 0. It's 0, isn't it? Let's multiply it by 100,000. Or have I cocked up again and we've already got 11 or something? No, 11's not there. Okay, save that. I'll do it directly here in case I'm doing something stupid and picking the wrong one. What have we got now? 0 still. This feels like it's like wrong, basically. Because the craft time is meant to be 30 seconds for a silo. Because P0 is the silo. It's not that I'm doing, you know, something else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're now multiplying it by 1,000,000. Right. And what are we getting now? Zero. Yeah, there's something not right there. So we would ignore that side of it. So my whole wanting to work with, you know, the rate of the machine is just not gonna work, basically. if we were to make it the... So if we do the stack size, say, of the thing, just so that I'm not completely going mad, we do the rocket silo again, and it's set to 1, because the stack size of a rocket silo is 1. Cool. Why is that relevant? That's relevant because we want to factor up and down by the amount of the thing. So if we're saying, so if we do a speed module, say, then that's 50 because the stack size is 50. So what does it do if it's bugging me that. I don't know, it's just, that feels like something very odd. Because the rate of that, what do you do now? We do this as a speed module. 50. Did I just do that in a dumb way? P0R. How is it getting 50? How is it getting 50? Because it's 15-second graph time. I don't know. I don't know what that's doing at all on any level. Right. We'll probably just end up with the same thing again. Because that at the moment is 60 times item... What was that? Item 2... So that's like a minute's worth, isn't it? Of stuff. So if we were to do that again, P0, I2, I1 rather. So 60 times that. So that's saying deliver a minute's worth of stuff. But if you pick a silo, it becomes an enormous number because... well, it's not a minute's worth, is it? It's how many it needs times a minute sort of thing. Which is what I was trying to do. I'm trying to scale it by the craft time. But we can't do that. If we pick... We could test the min thing out better. I'm pretty sure the min thing does work. I was just picking rubbish examples. So if we were to go... oops, min... Oops, that... And the stack size... The... 1... Stack... Oops, stack size... Coal... There, so we go that one. Yeah, so we've got 200 and 300. Because crafting time is 15. Doesn't matter. Because stack size of them is 50. So 5 times 50 is 250. But a stack of greens is 200, so it's picked the 200. Yeah, so min is working. If we were to test it out with max, good old max. I was a bit worried because I was putting these on, and you know, someone had suggested it, and I don't remember testing it properly. So if we were to go that now, it's gone 300. Why is it gone 300? Because 5 times 60 is 300. Whoops. Okay, so the min and max do work. Wasn't there another one? Someone told me that there's another one that you can use. How does that help me? How does that change things? Because I think this, given I can't get the rate thing to be sensible, I think it's fine as is. So we've done all that. That's taken, what, an hour and a half or something. And I think I've concluded that I'm just basically happy with whatever I had before. Except I've done 2 times that on there. Because I'm doing two stacks of stuff. I think I also worked out that because you can't add a parameter as such. I wonder if I could cheat it though. Could I cheat it? How could I cheat it? So if I went... How could I cheat it? So if I put a... Let's get rid of that. So put you down. No, it'd be painful doing that because I would need to put a... I could do a silo. No. I wasn't going to do that. No, actually, yeah, let's put that on. Actually, let's fix this back to what it was. So that needed to be 2 times that. 2 times that. And then put it on again. So that's a silo. Unfortunately, these end up with the same numbers. So we'd have to manually fiddle with it to get it work properly, but it's fine. What I was going to do is if I put a combinator in, and I call this number 7, I say we need to go through and this needs to be like 11, I didn't hit key, no, actually do exponentials now, all sorts. It's just testing. 14, 15. It's just so that we can identify them as separate things. Like that. And I call that, give that a number of 17, say. And if we then blueprinterize that, parameterize it, then if I do that at the top, and then I can't set that as a number, can I? But I can set that one as a number. Was it 17? The 2 is the actual lots of that. Because that... Where is the 2 coming from? Oh, because these have a stack size of 1. So that means 2 stacks. Okay. Stack size and default. This is a long shot, but try the big number before P0R. The parameters. The more I realise I just want a Turing complete language to configure my blueprints with. Yeah. Hello, intro fist. Well, try P0_T for craft type. Oh, you think it might be just written wrong? That's an interesting idea. So what are the 2 things there? Big number before P0R. Hang on. This card changes. So let's do that one first. P0T instead for craft time. No, what am I doing? I'm going in here, I'm going to this, and then I'm saying, so instead of, let's get rid of that stuff so it's not distracting. So we go, what was I1 was item count, wasn't it? So we wanted to go, so P0T, I'll just do it like that. P0_T. So what does that do? if we go rocket silo again, because you know that's got 30-second craft time. Ah! Whoops. So the problem is that it's not R, it's T. Is that what it turns out to be? Well, let's do something else. So I don't know. We know that the cargo wagon has a time of 1, and that's a 1. Huh. That has a craft time of, was it 5? No, 4. Okay. And it's a 4. So it's lying to me basically. It's not R, it's T. Okay. What does it do if it's 0.5? If we go with that, say 0. Okay. If we were to do an inverse, so if we divide that, so 1 over P0T, does this give us 2 for a rail signal? Yes. Huh. Thank you very much, the Intrafist. So the basic problem is that the game is lying to me. Craft time is not R, it's T. Right. Oh, that makes more... I mean, it should have been... That's what I said at the very beginning of this, didn't I? That why are we using R when it should be T? Okay. So, what was I actually going to do with that? We were going to say that we want to... it was the... I was effectively trying to get... So the craft time is that. So if I wanted to do... So if it's P0 S, the stack size, so that would be stack size. T is the craft time in seconds, isn't it? So we're going to go craft time in seconds. So for example, for a silo, that's 1/60th. No, 1/30th, sorry. Okay. So I want it for the minute. So we need to multiply it by the 60. And then 120, sorry, because we want 2 minutes worth. And then I'll do the min thing or max thing maybe. I guess it would be min. The trouble with min is obviously if we come out with a 0, it's not actually going to do anything. It's going to have a 0 request. Okay, so what's that going to give me? We'll put a silo. We get 4. Are we expecting 4? We're multiplying, so we've got 120 divided by 30 effectively is 4. What did we get? We got 4. Why it's... Would I also then multiply it by the stack size of the item itself? Is that what I'm trying to do? So it's that's basically the you know, that would come up with the same number for every single one, and it's saying it's like that is the rate basically, because it's the number that it could make as a stack divided by the time. Well, it doesn't work in stacks though, does it? But I want 2 stacks worth, so I think that's a reasonable sort of compromise. But then we want to multiply that by the stack size of the item itself. Well, I don't need to do that. I just want to do that basically. So the actual item itself, P1 underscore S. So what does that give us? That gives us, we do rocket, so again, 400, because steel has a stack size of 100. Cool. I think we might have cracked it. Yeah, there's a bug report already on the forum. Oh, recently, well, a couple of months ago. Changed the talkback and it seems to have introduced a typo. Oh. Typos, eh? Typos. It even tells you P0T doesn't exist, really. That's really annoying, yeah. Well, there you go. Always check the bug forums, I guess. Bug report forums. Okay. So let's do the opposite end. That's a recipe where it's got a gigantically long craft time, but huge stack sizes. Let's do, what would it come up with for nice quick item with quite a big stack size would be something like a green circuit. 4.8 million. Yeah, that's probably quite a few more than we would want to actually request in, isn't it? Okay. And it's done that because, let's think through the maths. So I should be doing that in the green circuit. So a green circuit has a craft time of just 0.5, a stack size of 200, and iron plates have a stack size of 100, don't they? Do I need to multiply it by, you know, its own stack size? I don't think I do I? Because what does it matter if it's got like a stack set there? If it's a super quick recipe, we're going to come up with a big number anyway. Or, you know, a sizable number, not necessarily a big one. So what do we get now? If we just do that, and we do the green. So what was it giving me with the N then? What? No, R. What is R? It must be nothing, but rather than throw an error, it should be throwing an error. It should be saying, but then I'm ignoring the red things because there is a bug where it just puts them red anyway. So maybe the red thing was actually the error. So that's 48,000. Wowza. Because why? It's got, what am I doing? The green, wait a minute. So I'm doing green circuits, which is 200 stack size, which I'm dividing by 0.5. So that's giving me 400. I'm then multiplying that by 120. Yeah. Why am I multiplying it by 120? Multiplying it by 120 because I'm just wondering if I can get away with multiplying it by 2. Why am I doing it 60 seconds? What difference is that going to make? Because dividing it by the craft time gives me the unity value, basically. So I don't need the 120 bit, do I? What happens if we get rid of the 120? Oops. So if we do a silo there, we get 0. That's a problem. If we do a green circuit, we get 400. I wonder if I could do a complex, like nested min-max thing. What would that? Because if I got a formula that is gonna produce a 0 and I do a min on it, and that's only 400, then I'll get a 0 basically. So I want to do a max. But if I do a formula that's got a very big value, then I'm going to end up with, you know, that I would want the min. I wonder what other, if there are other hidden formulas that it could use. Because I could, as I say, I could just multiply that by like the stack size of the item. Or right, sorry, multiply. Do it with the stack size of the item. If I multiply it by, I wonder if, well, what do we get if we multiply by 60? I don't want to multiply by 60 though. If I multiply it by the stack size of the item, I'm just going to end up with a huge number every time, aren't I? So we multiply by the no, I do it. It's P1. I'm looking around weirdly because the microphone's in the way of my keyboard. P1 stack size multiplied by that, and then we, well, let's just do that for now, and then get rid of all of these. Oops. So I never really answered the question before. R is rate presumably in T is time. I think R might just be nothing. I think if you just put something random in, it uses the red to tell you. But because I mean, maybe they fixed that bug, but there was a bug that it just put red, even if your formula was correct. So I just got used to ignoring it. Maybe they fixed that one. I don't know, but yeah. But even if it was red, I would ignore what it was telling me. Basically. So if we do a silo, we get the number 3, which is a perfectly fine number to get for a silo, given it's going to take it 30 seconds to do. If we do a green circuit, we get 40,000. So what we want to do is the min of, I think I might do 2 times the stack size, because even if you've got, I could do more than that actually. But a recipe with 6, because it's the whole point of stack size, is it's the number of items to fill one slot in a chest. So if you've got 6 items, if you request 1 stack of each, rather, all you're going to get is just 6 slots filled. 6 slots filled. So we could do 2, and that's only 12, which is a quarter of a chest. We do 3, which is 18, which is the thing. So I guess the difference would be if we end up with, but if it's the min, yeah. So if it doesn't need many at all, it'll pick the lower number. If it goes nuts and goes way above 3 stacks, say. So if we go 3 times P1S, then it'll just put 3 stacks in. So it'll deliver it loads because it's calculating it needs loads. Did I put the comma in? I did. Does that mean it's saying this is red, even though I'm pretty sure that that equation is correct? So I think that bug is still there. No, it isn't, because I've put 3. But it's still showing it's red. So P1 is the stack size for unknown variable P1 underscore S, even though P1 underscore S is the stack size for a parameter in. So it's giving a wrong error basically. Because P1S times P to T, yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, so what do we do now? What's our result now? We go silo, and it picks 3 because they're super slow, so it doesn't matter about the bots delivering them quickly or loads of them. Green circuit, it's picked 200 because, why would it pick 200? I thought I put, did I not put 3? Did I put 2? I put 2, didn't I? I meant 3. Because we know it calculates 40,000 already. So if we want instead, shouldn't it come up with 600? Oh no, stack size of iron plate. Yeah, okay. And the 180. Because that's the old way I was doing the maths. Whew. P0 in the sky is the rocket capacity. According to the wiki, learn something new every day. Oh, right. So, for a silo, the rocket capacity is 0, isn't it? Because it explicitly cannot put rockets on. So, what was the other item I was testing? It was like cargo wagons, wasn't it? What was it? What's the... Oh, I can't look it up on this. What's the rocket capacity for cargo wagons? I bet it's 0, isn't it? But yeah, this is one of my... I don't know about complaints, but they've kind of put this feature in. And it's like, it does not explain it in any way, shape or form. I mean, how would you... If you hadn't read the Friday Facts, how would you ever, you know, do this? Because that's literally the extent of Factoriopedia's explanation. It's exactly the same explanation, just changing the number based on the parameter. Parameters are used for setting generic blueprints in the blueprint configuration menu. Wow, that's really explanatory, isn't it? I don't. Maybe there's a tutorial. I don't remember seeing one. I don't see a parameterization tutorial. In fact, I don't think there's a blueprint one. Is it even? Does it even do blueprints in anything? No. So yeah. Okay, so we've done a tweaked version. It's taken probably about 2 hours in order to basically change this formula a tiny, tiny amount. So we're doing well. We're doing well. Right. I don't even know that this is exact. Oh, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do, is adjust it based on like the rate of the actual production of the thing. But I don't know if this design is exactly what I want to do. Because what I'm thinking is the first time I'm using these with blue machines, I'd probably be inserting them. So if I'm doing my whole minibus thing, so you know, it's blah blah blah. Just pop you down there, just whatever you are. So I don't know, doot. It doesn't matter. It's just, yeah, whatever. And then that's there. So I'd be adding these in the first time I'm building them into this. So I wouldn't really be wanting them to do like that. Not least of all because, you know, if I've got a fluid that I want to, you know, if I upgrade it into a green machine, put fluid in it, something like that, I wouldn't be able to fit that in. So, you know, if we want to make, I don't know, what would be a random thing we might have? I guess we might have got up to, you know, more logistics options. Oh, it's going to start and try and deliver then. And is that the design I would want to use? So I would then have another one here, you see. Be nicer to keep the spacing, wouldn't it? So in other words, if we were putting... would it be nice to keep the spacing? Don't know that it would it? It's just the point is that if it's that size... I guess if it's that size, it does, if I wanted to do it that way. Then that's fine. It fits in, you know. If I just squeeze it into the minibus. Yeah, let's go with that then. I was sort of assuming I would redesign it, but I think it's fine. I guess there's upgradability. So if I wanted to... I'm not happy with these green machine ones. because I ended up editing them every single time. Oh, you don't even set any. Something's wrong there. Oh, because it's doing a read contents, you see. And it's not powered, so it can't read the contents. So if I do that, there you go. So it's dynamically setting them. Quite like that. What I'm doing with this, basically, is like I'm cheating it. It's basically saying, these are the input signals. And then just simply by having that loads and loads of times, the default behavior is to add them together. You know, because that's how it does circuit now. You know, if you put minus 500 and 200 in, it adds them together. You don't have to add them yourself. So by just repeating that exact thing each time, you just get the math of them going on. So I don't need to then, because what I couldn't do, or I couldn't see a way of doing, is, although yeah, there's that now, isn't there? When I was doing this, you couldn't set the constant, so maybe I can use that instead. And then I can actually set it properly. Because they added that. So if I put that onto 3, yeah, it adds them in. So I wonder if you can parameterize that number. I'm getting distracted again. It's going to be delivering all sorts of rubbish. Okay. Where do we get to? See, I think... Because the problem with this, basically, what I was trying to say, is that, that, I can't just replace that on top of that. So if I built a proper bottle, which I'm terrible at doing, but maybe I've decided to give it another go, I can't just come along and go, right, now I want to upgrade to the Green Machine version, because it's just not the same layout and fit, If I built them, I'd probably stuck them too close together. So that's the issue with it, really, is that that doesn't just nicely drop on top of it. And if I also did have it designed that style, it would just fit into this system. Where I've deleted it, haven't I? Choices. I kind of ended up hating this as well. Yeah, because it got it so it's got green lights for if it's got stuff in the box. Cargo wagons have a rocket capacity of 5. Okay. Yeah, I would have never gotten into blueprint parameters if it wasn't for seeing other content creators use them and learning that way. Yeah, it's completely unexplained. And the fact, someone told me about the whole min-max thing. I mean, maybe that's in the wiki. In fact, it probably is, isn't it? But it's like, it's not documented anywhere in the game at all, which is just bad. Even if, I mean, I say I didn't like that green lights rubbish anyway. So if I was to make it like that, it's still not the same, is it? Because it'd have to be there. And that's not like the other design. So that combinator being in the way. Yeah. So it doesn't matter, basically. It's not an upgradable design anyway. And if I want to keep this principle, which I think I do, I mean, I don't want to do this. I want to see if I can use, that. If I can parameterize that, then it's fine, isn't it? Because it's just, it's a different design. If I've got this set down and I want to go green machine and put modules in it, I'll just do it case by case. Okay. So I think I've talked myself round to keeping this. It's got a light on it, so I'm happy. Cool. So what we need to do then is we need to go... Well, basically I can copy this down, I think. And then just edit it. So we want to go... The last bit's fine. It's that one. That needs to be 2. And then... 3. And then... 4. And then... 5. And 6. We want to give this a name though, don't we, rather? So if I just call it 0 again. Cool. So I think this is my improved, in quotes, version. So if we want to build a rocket silo, then that requests tiny amounts because it's a rocket silo and it's going to take it 30 seconds to even build one. Well, is that how I want it to behave? I mean, it'll make it even slower, but who cares? It's rocket silos. So if we take something like a bacon, what number is it? 133. So it's a nice sort of much improved value there. Much bigger, rather. I think I'm happy with that. Something with a short craft time then. What's it come up with? Comes up with the stacks, because the stacks. Because the numbers it's actually generating are enormous and we want to cap them off. We don't want to explode our chests. Cool. So I think I'm happy with that modified design. So we can get rid of the original. Always brave, deleting blueprints, but there we go. Now, I've got 2 of these in the end. That was my original one, wasn't it, with passive providers. I decided once and for all that I hate passive providers. So I think I can just get rid of that one. We do have this little thing here. I still can't decide whether I want that. Same thing with train schedule parameters. I used to have a different schedule for different resources, which is what I've got now. So I decided dedicated trains for resources, but now thanks to learning about parameters, all my cargo trains go to generic pickup stations. Once the cargo is full, it triggers an interrupt that brings the cargo to the correct unloading station. Don't hate passive providers, they're fantastic. I don't hate them. I just, the way I build and what have you, it's the thing that bots can't put things back into passive providers. That's my issue with them. If they could do what a story, well, if the bots went right, let's put, because what it's more to do with how I play, and like I'll run through a logistics network and that triggers 500 requests, so the bots go and pick the items up and then they run out of the logistics area. And the bots go, oh, now we're not got anywhere to put these, let's put them back in a chest. And they go and stick them in a storage chest because that's how they're set up. I want them to put it back into the passive provider because the storage chest could be, halfway across the entire base. So that's my issue with them, and I just hate. It's like I've got it in this, and I mean there was a bit of this while I was checking to see if the 2400 thing worked. How are we doing with pollution anyway? Oh, look out, it's receding. Nice. Because I want to be able to test this with the new train thing. So I don't want thing. You see, like I've nice and organised everything because I didn't really have anything to do. So I was like, well, I could just leave it, or I could leave it, you know, stick them in. That way, because that chest is full. But you know, there were, well, as you can see, oops, green circuits and all sorts of stuff, copper plate, iron plate, all this sort of stuff. And the problem is when it's all in passive providers, they go and then stick the excess into the storage chest. They don't put it back into a passive provider. And I hate that. That's just untidy to me. Whereas with the storage chest, they're going to put it back in. Okay. So yes, I am happy, I think, with that. Let's just keep that. The idea with this is just a little extension thing where you put it on, you know, if you've got a fluid using recipe. And it's just then a way of connecting them all together. And obviously it can be, doesn't need to be there, it can be on the side or what have you. But yeah, cool. Okay. So, the question next then, oh, it's 7 o'clock. We're out of time. I wonder how long I did spend on that, only to discover it was, as you said, basically a bug. Okay. Where do we get to? So I'm happy with all of them. So what I need to work on, or I might just work on, is them. I still want to do different versions of these. I like the end ones. I like these. I think these are good to go. It's these like intermediate ones because they're not really like upgradable and stuff. And obviously that's got level 2 modules in it from when I was messing about, which I wouldn't really be. I'd probably be putting level 1s in to start with rather than 2s. And that's obviously a 3. That's a different design really. So I think I want to go something that, you know, when I'm doing electric furnaces, it's got the beacons, you know, in they're shared to start with. That makes sense, rather than being on the outside. So there's that. I do want to do a tweaked version. I prefer my old. I might just pull it over, but I prefer it where it overlaps, basically. I know what I mean by that. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this, although as I noted at the start, I'm also pretty sure it's broken or incorrect. I think it's these pipes, basically. I think when it tiles, because if you look, that is 1, 2, 3 tiles down, and where it's repeating to, no, that one should be okay, because that one would become that one, so that being 3 down, 1, 2, 3 should be correct. Okay. And that's all new. That would be added on. Yeah, there was some problem, and whether I fixed it or not. Maybe it's these ones, because that would be that pipe there. And if that's the 3rd tile down, then that's fine as well. I don't know. I think the problem, the problem with the fluids one, really, the oil, was the pumps thing. The fact that actually pumps effectively act like a bottleneck now. Maybe it was this one, because that's a random pipe there, isn't it? So maybe it wasn't connecting to that properly. I can't remember, it was weeks ago. But yeah, pumps effectively act like bottlenecks now. So really I probably need, you know, pumps on the other side as well, so I can double the throughput. But yeah. I do quite like that design. That's fine then. So I guess, yeah, it's the other question is what I want to do about chemical, because that was not good. Basically, it wasn't really what I wanted. I quite like these as well. I think this works quite well. They're obviously end game circuit things. I think that's fine. And that was quite a good design. I might just blueprint a lot of the stuff I've done. And just have them as the end game ones. I don't like that at all though. You're horrible. Go away. Cool. Okay, so I've dribbled on again. The nice thing about passive provider chess. Oops. You're not going to convince me. They're horrible. I hate them. The nice thing about passive provider chests is they have lower priority than storage chests, so bots would take items from storage chests first. It's nice for resources because otherwise they just waste storage space. If I bot more, though, I'd have requester chest, storage chest, and passive provider chests in a row. The bots would have bring their unused items back to the mall. You see, you could do that just by using storage chests. You don't need your passive providers. Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's pause that there. Put my schedule up. So tomorrow, I will be doing Satisfactory, but it's the British Grand Prix. So I will be starting at 5 and only doing 2 hours. So there's that. I'll be honest. Obviously, I can see the numbers. Obviously, Twitch is a little bit more random, but over on the YouTubes, basically no one is watching the Satisfactory series. I can understand why. There's been a lot of being messing about with, just not really making a lot of progress. It's not because I'm learning the back end of the game basically, so I can sort of understand why it wouldn't be all that interesting. But it becomes ever more evident that if I do anything that isn't Factorio, then it basically dies on its arse. Which, I can play Satisfactory on my own time. I don't need to, stream it to nobody, basically. To put it very, very bluntly. Speaking of which, so I guess the promoing stuff. But yes, basically, say tomorrow, 5 o'clock for 2 hours of Satisfactory after the Grand Prix. And then back to normal the week afterwards. And we should be going then probably till like October or something as the schedule. But what I'm basically saying, because the other thing I want to do on this, I don't know how many more streams I'm going to do with Factorio, because I want to do all these tweaks, and so I might just do copying out the blueprints. But how many streams that is, I don't know. It's not going to be too many. And then we need to start the next Factorio series, and part of the reason for doing this was to be able to then almost carry it into a Space Age playthrough. But the other thing is that Factorio 2, Rhaegar finished the updates, to make that, 2.0 compatible. So I'm almost tempted to do that. I don't think I will. I think I'll just do a Space Age playthrough using these parameterized blueprints and create parameterized blueprints for the Space Age stuff as part of that series. I could also do I feel like I need to play it through more, several more times, but there's also all the achievements, the speedrun ones and all that sort of stuff. So we do a series on that, and then I could revive my aesthetic series. And what was the other one I was doing? Well, there's blueprinting. What was the other big series I was doing? I can't remember. I'm really keen to do the aesthetic one again, assuming all the mods now work with it, but yeah, and do it in Space Age. But yeah, so those are the things I need to think about. I guess the thing to note is that if you are watching on Twitch, you can also watch on YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can also watch Twitch. You have your choice of preferred platform, because I use Restream to stream to both. However, YouTube is the only one with VODs, so it's got the VODs for all of the loads of Factorio series I've done, but also like Tectonica, Dyson Sphere Program, Satisfactory, all of those building and management games, although possibly not for the future because, I say, nobody watches them. I mean, people don't watch Let's Plays anyway, really, but it's even worse for me as a nobody. What you'll also find on the YouTube is the full archive of all the Friday Facts videos I did, which I say even to this day, people still watch them, randomly on the thing. I guess it's fun to just watch me speculate about stuff when you know what's actually coming, or what I didn't know then, as it were. But those then have led into a series which, the first video in particular, where I talk about what I think the engineer is, has gone really, really popular, about 5,000 views on it. And that's part of a series I'm doing speculating about the law. The next one of those videos is coming out next Friday. So that will be coming out 11 o'clock UK time on Friday the 11th. I have not managed to do the next video in that series, so there may not be one in August. What there is going to be on the 25th of July, I might move them to August in order to make it that I have got a video each month, but it's the whole quick tutorials thing where I'm trying out to see if I can make something a bit simpler, quicker, easier, minimal editing, just super simple ones, looking at a very simple topic and just focusing on that and just explaining how I do that. So we've got, like, for example, double-headed trains. Not double-headed trains, but, well, I mean, it talks about that. But point-to-point rail, very simple oil processing, how I do the minibus building. And the idea is to build up a whole load of those. But I don't know if the format works. I don't know that I'm massively. I prefer scripted. When I watch videos, I like scripted, written, edited content. But that, people don't seem to care as much. Maybe it's just because I'm very old and I'm more used to TV. But yeah, so people watching that and feeding back on whether it works, whether my version of doing that. And you have to remember these are the first ones of me trying it, so they're always going to be rougher. But people just letting me know whether it works or not. I don't know that my audience, the people who watch my videos, they're very basic things, and I don't think necessarily it's a perfect match for my audience. But yeah, basically the point is, if you see one of them, give it a watch and let me know whether you think it's rubbish or not. So that'll be coming out 20th of July, and they are easy to do. And easy to do in batch, so I may just do more anyway because it's quite simple. If you want to follow me on socials, Blue Sky is the one. Basically, that's the only one I'm even vaguely active on. I do have Twitter and Discord, but I don't really use them. So there we go. That's true, but it looks so pretty with 3 colour boxes. Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with aesthetics. I do like some aesthetics. I think that's everything. All the promos and all the stuff there. Yeah, tomorrow later. Back to normal next week. Satisfactory probably going away. Factorio maybe switching to Space Age. So there we go. If you have been watching, I hope you've enjoyed it and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.